Again, welcome to Python programming language. In this lectures, we're going to cover the selection statements in Python, and it covers chapter 3 of our course textbook. Our main objective is to write Boolean expressions using relational operators. In Python, again, we have 6 different types of relational operators. We're also going to use the random class to generate a random numbers or random values. We're also going to learn how to program with the Boolean expressions, that is using, again, the relational operators, and also the selection control structures. We have 3 types here. We're going to learn how to use the if statement, if-else statement, and also multi-way if-elif-else. Now, if statement will be one way. That means we have only one condition. If the condition is true, we are going to do something. If the condition is false, we are going to skip the condition. Expression follows it. Now, if else will be two-way, which means we have a condition at the if section. If it's true, the statement below it will be executed. If it's false, then the else section will be executed. Then also we have a multi-way, which is more than 2. So this will be if, elif, and else statements. So we start with the Boolean data types. Normally, a Boolean data types will take only 2 items or 2 things. That is true or false. For example, here we have is 1 greater than 2. There's only 2 solutions here. Either the statement is true or it's false. Now, greater than is called a relational operator. So normally when we are writing a Boolean expressions, especially conditions, we use the relational operators. So here, often in a program, you need to compare 2 values, such as whether I is greater than j. There are 6 comparison operators, also known as relational operators, that can be used to compare 2 values. So the result of the comparison is a Boolean value. Either the answer is true or false. So B, we assign 1 greater than 2 to B. The solution for B, or the content of B, will be false. So these are the relational operators. We have less than or equal to. Now there's no space between less than or equal together. Greater than or equal, also there's no space between greater than and equal. And also equality. Now in Python, if we use only 1 equal sign, it means we are assigning a value on our right side to the left side. So in Python, 1 equal sign is called assignment operator. 2 equal signs is called the equality or the equal operator. We also have not equal, which is the exclamation, and the equal sign. Again, there's no space between them. So let's start with an example of a program, how we can use the relational operators. So here we are going to write a program that will create, to let a first grader practice additions. So we're going to create a program that will let a first grader practice additions. So the program will randomly generate 2 single digits, let's say number 1 and number 2. Then it will ask the user to give us the addition of the 2 numbers. If the answer is correct, then we may display a message that the answer is true. If the answer is false, then we may display a message that the answer is false. So let's see how this program works. So here we are going to generate numbers. So we import the random package or the random class, then generating 2 numbers. And these numbers will be int and from 0 to 9. So we are saying that random.randint 09. This means we can generate any random numbers between 0 to 9. And when we generate the first number, we assign it to a variable named number 1. Then random.randint 0 and 9, we generate our second value, we assign it to number 2 variable. So now our question is, we ask the user, what is the first number we generated plus the second number we generated with a question mark? Then the user is going to, again, we are using input function. So the user is going to enter the answer. Now we say print number 1 plus number 2 equal to the answer. And now we are using the Boolean expression equality. If number 1 plus number 1 and number 2 equal to answer. So if the answer is correct, this section will be true. If the answer is false, the condition here will be false. So again, we have input, process, then output. We generate two numbers using, again, the random.randint. And the numbers are from, again, 0, 9. Then we ask the user to enter the answer. The instruction is that what is the first number we generate plus the second number we generate. Then the user is going to enter the answer with the input. Then we display our results. If the answer is correct, then we say num1 plus num2 equal to the answer the user enter, and it's true. If the answer is wrong, then we're going to say is false. So let's try this program, say we can. So I'll start the animation here. First, we import our package, random. Here they say we should know that in all code animation, you can use the mouse or your finger to move or highlight explanation, output, and check your understanding box freely. What will be the possible integer for number 1 after this statement is executed? Enter the smallest possible integer, a space, and the largest possible integers. So the possible integer we can generate here, I can say any value, 1 and 9. So here they say the answer is wrong because the smallest number that will be generated, as we said earlier, is between 0 and 9. So again, 0 and 9. So again, we generate randomly number 3. Then second, the random number is number 8. Then we ask the user, what is 3 plus 8? I'm going to enter 20. And I'll click OK, and we will see our output. So here we said, what is the number? We said 20. Then let's see. We can see our output here, 3 plus 8 equal to 20 is false. So now if the answer is correct, let's reset it. And this time we are going to enter the correct answer. So this time we are going to enter correct answer for everything. So here, we are going to generate the minimum and the maximum value should be 0 and 9. Because here's what would be the possible integer for number 1. Enter the smallest possible integer, so it will be 0. Space, enter the largest, so it will be 9. So this time we randomly generate 6. And the next is 4. And 6 plus 4 is 10. And this time our output will be true. 6 plus 4 is 10 and it's true. So next we are going to talk about the control structure. So we start with the if. So we can see the statement here. If Boolean expression, the column, we indent, then statement. So that's the syntax. Always we have a Boolean expression and the column. Then when we indent it, again, the statement below the if will be executed. As we said in our previous lectures, if our statement is aligned with if, that means the statement is outside the if condition. So for example, if we write a statement with if they are aligned to each other, it means statement is not inside the if condition. So let's see the example they use here. Here they say if radius is greater than or equal to 0, then we can find the area of the radius, which will be radius times 3.14159. Then we print the area for the circle of radius. Is the result we get for the area here will be the result. And this is our flow chart. So we have a radius greater than or equal to 0. If it's false, then we come out of the condition. Now, if it's true, then we are going to find the area, then we print our result. So the if statement, again, we call it one-way if. There's no condition for false. If the condition is false, we come out of the if condition. So that's what we said earlier. We should note this is wrong. If I said if I greater than 0, colon, and print I is positive, print will always print because it's not inside the if condition. So to make sure that if any statement is inside the if condition, we need to indent it. So the B will be the correct. Now let's see another demo for the if. So we can see our condition if number modulus 5 equal to 0. Now we are using two equal sign, which means we want to check if the value on the left side of the equality sign is the same as the right side. This time we are not assigning 0 to the left. We have two equal sign. So we are checking. So first thing we have here is that we ask the user to enter an input. So the user can enter any input. And we want to know if the input is divisible by 5 and also 2. What we mean divisible by 5 is that if I divide the input by 5, if the remainder is 0, then it's divisible by 5. Now, if I divide the input by 2 and the answer is 0, that means the number is an even number. So we can see the if statement is only one way. If the condition is true, we are going to do something. If the condition is false, we are going to skip the if condition. So let's see how this program works. They say we should enter the integer. I'm going to enter 45. So 45 is entered. We check the condition here. Yes, 45 divided by 5, the remainder is 0. So when we click on it, which line will be executed after this line? And we'll say line 4. So let's see if so that's correct, because 45 is divisible by 5. If you divide 45 by 5, the remainder again is 0. Now next is, they say which line will be executed after this line. Enter end if program is finished. So this one I'm going to enter end, because even if number modulus 2 equal to 0, which is false, so print I even will not execute. So here they say the answer is wrong. Why? Because we still have to check the condition. So we check the condition, and which line will be executed after this condition, and that will be the end, because the last line is line 7. Line 7 will not execute it, so that's correct. So next we go to the two-way if statement. So we can see the syntax here. If the condition is true, statement for the true case will execute. Else, if the condition is false, statement for the false will execute here. So we say if Boolean expression is true, statement or statements for the true case will execute. If the condition is false, then else section will execute. So statement for the false case will execute. So this is the flow chart. We have a Boolean expression. We check the condition. If the condition is false, then the statement for the false case will execute, which is the else section. If the condition is true, statement for the true case will execute, which is the if section. So example given here, if a radius is greater than or equal to 0, then we can find the area, which is radius times par. Then we print the result of the area. Else, which means the statement is false, we print a negative input. If user enter value that is less than 0, that means it's a negative value. So in this example here now, we have something to do or an expression to print when the condition is false. So let's see an example using the if-else, which we also call the two-way. So here they say this example will create a program to teach a first grade child how to learn subtraction. The program randomly generates two single-digit integers, which will be number 1 and number 2, with number 1 greater than or equal to number 2. And it will display the questions such as, what is 9 minus 2 to the student. After student types the answer, the program will display the message to indicate whether the answer is correct or wrong. So this is the program. First, we generate our input. So we need two inputs, any value between 0 to 9, number 1, number 2. Then we have a condition because the difference of number 1 and number 2, we want the answer to be positive. So this means if number 1 is less than number 2, then we are going to swap the numbers. We will make number 2 as number 1, then number 1 as number 2, so that we always get a positive result. So that's the first thing we do here. We say if number 1 is less than number 2, if I find number 1 minus number 2, my answer will be negative. We want positive answer. So we swap by, in Python, to swap two values. We say number 1, comma space number 2 equal number 2, comma space number 1. So this will allow us to swap the two values. Next, we ask the user to give us the answer. And also we are using the input function. Then when we get the answer, we change it to int. So now we are telling the user what is the first value we enter minus the second value. Then we are going to get the answer. Now the answer will be in the variable answer. And now we're going to check if number 1 minus number 2 is equal to the answer, then we print you are correct, else your answer is wrong. So this is what we're learning now, how to use the if-else. If the condition is true, the if section will execute. If the condition is false, the else section will execute. So next is using the multiple alternative if statements. So this means we have more than 2 conditions. So for example, here is about grading. We know a student gets a score between 90 to 100. The grade is A. Then 80 to 89, B. 70 to 79, C. 60 to 69, D. And then below 60 will be F. All the rest left is F. So here we can say that, so now here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different conditions. So we said again, if score is greater than or equal to 90, then we are going to assign A to grade. Else, if score greater than or equal to 80, then we are going to assign B to grade. Else, if score is greater than or equal to 70, then it's C. Else, if score greater than or equal to 60, then the grade is D. Else, the grade is F, otherwise. Now, writing this is correct, but here you can see we are using the multiple if-else. But we have to be careful, the alignment. Since one else section was false before we check a new if-else. So that means the new if-else have to be inside the else. So that's why we have to tap every run. Now there's equivalent way, which is, this is how we, most of the time we are going to write if we have a multiple if-else statement. So we can say if score is greater than or equal to 90, we assign A to the grade. If or elif, score greater than or equal to 80, we assign B. So we don't need to say if, else, if again, then else, then if again. So we just say if, elif, another condition, elif, if the score is greater than or equal to 70, we get C. Elif, if the score is greater than or equal to 60, we get D. Else we get F. So this is the flow chart. If the score is great, excuse, if the score is greater than or equal to 90, if it's true, then we print A, or we assign A to grade. Then we come out of the conditions. We don't need to check the rest of the condition no more. Otherwise, if the score is less than 90, then we go to the second condition. This time we are going to check if it's greater than or equal to 80. If it's true, we print B. If it's false, then we are checking the third condition. And if the third condition is false, we are going to check the fifth condition. If the fifth condition is false, then last one we don't need to check. That's more or less the default. So if all the conditions are false, the last condition will execute. So that's the code again. If score greater than or equal to 90, we assign A. This is again in Python. So you can see the condition, we end with the colon. Then we indent, which means A assigned to grade is inside the condition score greater than or equal to 90. Elif, if score is greater than or equal to 80, then we assign B to the grade. Elif, if the score is greater than or equal to 70, we assign C to the grade. Elif, if score is greater than or equal to 60, we assign D to the grade. Else, we assign F to the grade. So let's see the steps here. Condition is false, then we go to 70. If it's true, which means suppose score is 70 is true, then we stop. We don't need to check the rest no more. So we assign grade is C, and that's it. Then we come out of the condition area. Or we say we exit from the if-else statement. So another example we have here. So here we say, let us write a program to find out the Chinese zodiac sign for a given year. And the Chinese zodiac sign is placed on 12-year circle. So each year being represented by an animal such as rat, tiger, rabbit, dragon, etc. So that's the represent. So 0 means monkey, 1 is rooster, 2 is dog, 3 is pig, all the way to 11. So we have 12. So here we are going to use, again, since our condition is more than 1 and also more than 2, at least 3 upgoing, then we can use the if-elif. So here we ask the user to enter the year. Now, if the user enters 0, we say it's monkey. He enter 1, we say it's rooster. He enter 2 is dog, 3 is pig, etc. And the last option will be sheep, because after 10, we have 1 left. So let's do one animation on this. We start it. I'm going to enter 5. So 5, enter the year. We check the first condition. And we find out no. Which line will be executed after this line will be the second, and the second condition, which will be 5. We are correct. So we check that condition also. The condition also is false. So if it's false, then we are not going to execute 6. We check 7. It's false also. So we're going to check 9. Which line will be executed? Again, our input was 5. We haven't reached there yet. Yeah, I'm going to make a mistake. Let's say I write 7. They say wrong. The next line to execute is 11. Okay. After 11, we are moving to 13. This time, 14 will execute. We have our answer. Is 5 equal to 5? Yes. So we said the next line that will execute will be 14. And that's correct. So the statement will test the zodiac 5 is true. So hopefully we understand how to use again the if-else and if-elif, which is multiple way. So most common errors in selection statement, one, I would say the indentation. So for example, here, radius is minus 20. If radius is greater than or equal to 0, then we should find the area, then we should print the area. But we can see the print is aligned with if. So which means whether it's greater or less, we're still going to print. If it's greater and equal to 0 or less than 0, we're still going to print, because the print doesn't have anything to do with the if condition. So the correct way will be this form. The print also have to be indented. This means the condition affected the two lines, area equal to radius times 3.14, and also print the area is. Now, one tip they gave us is about modulus operator. We can always use the modulus operator to find out if a number is a odd number or even number. So to do that, let's say I have a number here. So I'll check number modulus 2 equal to 0. If it's true, that means the number is even number, because anytime you divide an even number by 2, the remainder is always 0. Then if it's 1 or any number, then it's false. So we also have a program here called the body mass index. The goal here also, we should be able to use the multiple way or the multi-way if-elif-else, because we have 4 conditions. So user is going to enter an input, then we are going to find the BMI. I think the BMI is normally found by using the weight of the person and also the height. So here we say the body mass index is a measure of health on weight. It can be calculated by taking your weight in kilograms and also dividing by the square of your height in meters. Then the interpretation is given as down. If your BMI is less than 18.5, then you are underweight. If it's between 18.5 to 24.9, then you are normal. If it's between 25.0 to 29.9, then you are overweight. Now, if it's above 30, then you are obese. So let's see this program. So first thing, we ask the user to enter his weight using the input function, enter weight in pounds. We convert it to float because we said anytime we use the input function to get an input, the data type will be in strings. And we cannot use strings in arithmetic operations. So next, we ask the user to enter the height, and we convert it to float. Then we know kilogram per pound is 0.45359,237. Then meters per inch is 0.0254. So first thing we're going to do is to find the weight in kilograms. So we multiply the weight times, again, the kilograms, because the weight, again, is entered in pounds, and we change it to kilogram. Then the height in meters. The height also is entered in inches, so we are going to change it to meters. So again, we change the weight to kilograms, height to meters. To change the height to meters, we multiply the original height value by the constant value meters per inch. Then to find the BMI, we divide the weight in kilograms by height in meters squared. So we use height in meters times height in meters. Again, that's the formula to find BMI, the weight divided by height squared. So now we know the BMI. So we're going to print our result now. If the BMI result is less than 18.5, then we say the person is underweight. And if it's less than 25, we say it's normal. If it's less than 30, we say it's overweight, else we say it's obese. And these 4 conditions were given to us in the question. So that's what we are doing right now. First thing, we get our inputs. Then we do our computation, processing. Then based on whatever condition we have, we display our result. So next is the program computing tasks. We are going to do this program in the lab work. So that will be the conclusion of these lectures. Actually, let's go through the last question. So this question, again, computing tasks, we know based on your income, based on your family size, you may pay different percentage. So for example, married, filing jointly, or qualified widower or window, these are the amount, and also the marginal tax rate is given to us. If you are single, this is where you fall to. If you are married, filing separately, or head of household. So based on these different conditions, again, we may use the decision statement. In this case, we have more than 2 conditions. So we say, if the status is 0, we're going to compute tax for single filer. If status is equal to 1, we compute tax for married filing jointly. If the status is 2, we compute tax filing for married filing separately. And if the status is 3, we compute tax for the head of household. Else, then we have a wrong status. The status have to be one of these 4. So let's look at the program here. First, of course, we have to ask the user to enter his status, any value between 1 to 4. Then, of course, the income, because those are the 2 things that will determine the rate of tax you pay. So we enter our income, we enter our status. So we assign the tax value to be 0, make sure there's nothing inside. So we say, okay, if the status is 0, we're going to compute the tax for single filers. Single filers, their status is 0. So now, based on the condition we should saw, if your income is less than or equal to 8350, you are going to pay 10% for your tax. That means 10% of your income. Now, if it's less than or equal to 33,950, then the first 8350, you pay 10%. And the rest, you pay 0.15, 15%. So the same thing applies to if your income is 82,250, up to 8350, you pay 10%. Then the difference between 33,950 and 8350, you pay 15%. Then the remaining rest, you pay 25% based on the condition. So we do that for everything up to here. Then we can calculate the tax now. So we calculate the tax for each category. Then we can, now based on your status, we can calculate. So we left here as exercise. So for example, if you are in status 1, we did the status 0, or this is for status 0. because if I'm status 0, which means I'm filing as a single, all this calculation I highlight is your income category. So we have up to 8350, 33950, 82250, 171,550, 372,950, and the rest. So this is all for status 1. So we have to do the same thing for, this is for status 0. We have to do the same thing for status 1, 2, and 3. Now with status 1, the only thing that will change here is the percentage. So 8350, we can look at the, so after we finish, then we print our display avatars. And we can look at the, we can look at the condition. This is the condition given. So if you are single, this is your bracket. If you are married, married filing jointly, married filing separately, head of household. So we did the first one for the single. Remember, we say 8350 times 10%. If the amount is up to 33,950, the first 8350 will be 10%, the rest will be 15%, and the rest going. So again, I'm going to end the lectures here and wish everybody the best. Thank you.